Hi, Allison.
Hi.
Good to see you. There's a bit of a light behind you.
I know.
If you can move, maybe to a spot that has a little bit better lighting, then you'll show up. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Dr. Joan on Instagram. I am a speaker, an author, as well as a forgiveness therapist. I practice a special type of forgiveness that I talk about in my book 490. That's going to be coming out hopefully not too much longer, but definitely within the next 2 or 3 months or so. So I'm very excited about that. I called it 490, Forgive and Live Fearlessly. 490 being Jesus Christ said when he was asked how many times we should forgive, he says not just 7 times, but 70 times 7. Of course, 490 is what we get when we multiply 70 times 7. So I'm excited about that, and I'm also excited about our guest tonight, which is Allison Tinglin. And so Allison, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you're wanting to do?
Okay, so as Dr. Joan says, I'm Allison. I am actually an accountant by profession, but I've moved into my 3rd act, and this is what I want to share with everyone.
Yes.
It's a stage of your life where you have done the career, you've raised the children, you have raised the family and supported everyone around you, and then you look in the mirror and said, what happened about me? And yes, talking to women, conversing with women in the age group of 40 plus,
Yes.
there's a discontentment. It's just a trend in the conversations that I've been having over the last, say, 10 years.
Yes.
Where women have become frustrated and not only frustrated, but just keep saying there must be more to life than this.
Right. I've said that. I remember when I was in my traditional professor kind of role, and I would often come home, and one of the things I would say to my husband was, I know it deep down within my soul that I am not doing what I was born to do. So you begin to open the doors with your discontentment, right? You begin to open the doors to what is possible.
And yes, that's where we're taking it.
Yes.
Because not only it's fine to have someone to talk to and say, there must be more to this, and I need to do something more. But it's actually doing it. And
yes.
Oftentimes we don't do it because, one, we're afraid.
Yes.
We have spent
Rosita.
We have spent so much time caring for everybody that we don't know how to care for ourselves.
So true, right? And one of the things that I want to ask you is, as you're going through this journey, one of the things that I discover everywhere that I go is this, that if we're not vulnerable, if we don't authentically share with other people the struggles that we ourselves have had, then it's hard for them to connect now with us when we want to march out and then all of a sudden help other people. They're like, oh, well, tell me your story, and then, of course, I'll tell you yours. So tell us a little bit about your story and some of the things that you feared a little bit that now will support you as you begin to help, those women out there that now are in their 40s and have raised their families and all of those things, and now they're in that place where they want to do something different. Allison will come back in a second. I see that she had to sign off. But we're talking about the 3rd act tonight. We are talking about that time in life when we realize that so much time has passed and we haven't actually engaged in that thing that we know we were born to do. There's that path that we're supposed to be walking. And one of the things that I've come to notice is as I'm on social media and as I'm watching the women that are out here, I love it that there's so many women that are on the airwaves that are wanting and desiring to do something that is their own. I love the fact that there seems to be this mass exodus from, the social institutions that have reigned forever and ever and ever. There are so many women on the social scene who are doing their thing. And I'm celebrating that, because I'm like, you know what? Women left the home in, say, like the 60s and even like in the post-war era. And then we marched into these roles that were traditionally male roles. And it's like now the feminist agenda has kind of come to that place where it's like all over, right?
Yes.
But the agenda which ushered us into this equal position with men has all of a sudden fizzled out. And what I'm beginning to notice is that the scene we call social media has offered women an opportunity to now do their own thing. Rather than being stuck in the institution, now women are saying, I want to embrace what I'm truly here to do. And I think the next phase of what's going to happen in our country and across all the airwaves is that women are going to overtake in a totally different way, a powerful way, a spiritual way that will move our consciousness to a whole different level. Allison, thanks for coming back.
Yes.
I kind of cut you off there. I kind of had to go off on a conversation of my own. But please, share what was on your mind.
So, yes, I was talking about the fact that we have done everything for our families, and then we look in the mirror one day and just coming from work day in, day out, and just wondering, what happened to me? I'm not fulfilled. And this is why we're here. We're here to fulfill our life's purpose.
Yes.
We're here to live fearlessly.
Yes.
And yet, one of the problems that we have had is, and this is my own issue as a lot of my friends and relatives, is that we all have these negative messages that have been fed up to us.
Yes.
Not only by others but by ourselves.
Right. And this fits in exactly with what Poetic Sense is saying. She says, I think it's because we have finally begun to like our voices.
Right.
Right? Isn't that
Yes.
exactly it? We've finally begun to like our own voices because we've been
Right.
fed those messages, just like you said. And now, here it is. Now we get to shift the messages, sift out the lies, and begin to do some of those beautiful, wonderful things that we were meant to do. Go ahead, Allison.
And I will tell you from my own experience, since I have stepped into this space,
Yes.
it's like I'm flying. I'm happier. I am more energetic.
Yes.
I'm more focused. I wake up
Wanting to go. Yes.
ready to go. I mean, I don't sit there saying, 5 minutes more, okay, 2 minutes more. I don't do that anymore because I have purpose.
Right.
And it's freeing. It's
I
not
know
only
exactly.
freeing, it's
I know exactly what you
energizing.
mean. Yes, yes. Because I would dread going into work, but now I love everything about what I do. So my hope is always, as I'm loving what I do, I hope you're loving watching me do what I do, right?
That's why Malkia Soul Adventures was formed.
Tell us
because I
about
don't want
that.
to do this journey alone.
Right.
I want to take other women on this journey.
Yes.
Because there's nothing, when you're fulfilled, everyone around you, your whole community
Yes.
benefits.
Yes.
Because your positiveness, your can-do, just ingrains everybody else around you.
So tell me, Allison, how did you overcome the fear? Because the thing is the fear, right? Like I sat there for like literally years going, I need to go, I need to go, I need to go, I need to go, go, And now that I've gone through the door, opened it, gone through, and now I'm on the other side and I'm going, why didn't I do this earlier? So how did you overcome the fear?
Okay, so I had this fetus carrying for 18 years.
Explain that.
So, yes, it's that long. I have been wanting to do this.
Birth it.
But you know what? We have been taught to get the education,
Yes.
get the good job,
Yes.
break through the glass ceiling.
Yes.
We break through the glass ceiling, we bump our head, and we are left with a headache.
Right, right, right.
And you know what? Even though we have gotten there, at the end of the day, then what?
Right. You know, it was
Then
fun.
what?
It's interesting. I read an article. I was writing one of my posts, and I was talking about Generation X, Generation Y, you know, the most recent generation that I can't remember their name, and that sort of thing. And one of the things that they said about our generation is that we are attempting to do things, but failing. And I thought, well, hang on a second. Because, you know what, the thing is, we don't desire to succeed in the way that the world has told us to succeed anymore.
Right.
And so obviously we're being seen because we don't desire that, we're being seen as a failure. And, you know, Poetic Sense is saying that's what happens when we truly come into our confidence, right? We start to take on the responsibility to bring those coming behind or alongside of us, and that's exactly it. It's a responsibility to bring, and it's a spiritual responsibility too, because you're my sister. You know, Poetic Sense is my sister. And so when we begin to look at ourselves in a kind of a human way, then we desire to bring people along with us. But you were going to say, Allison?
And it's lonely at the top, Joan.
Right.
Dr. Joan, it's lonely at the top. I want my sisters, I want women of all color, creed to be on the same stage. There is enough space for all of us.
Right.
We don't need to be competing with each other. We all have a gift to share with this world.
Yes.
And, you know, we have so many unlocked dreams, you know, buried desires. And this retreat coming up in November 17th at the Royal Ambassador.
Yes, tell everybody about that. Tell everybody about that.
All of that.
Yes, so tell everybody about the retreat that we are going to be doing together.
Yes, I'm so excited about this because this is where we will shift the mindset. We will forgive the past. We will reprogram our internal messages.
Yes.
And, you know, call the lies the lies.
Yes.
We're all in the same space. We're all at the same stage, and we're ready to move on. And you're not going to be alone. This is a difference with this retreat. You will not be alone. You're not going to be there for one day, get all hyped up, and be left to figure it out on your own. No, we're here to guide you, to hold your hand, to give you the resources that you need. It's a commitment that I've made to you all to see you shine. To step into your greatness.
Yes, so let me give everybody a little bit of background on this. So, you know, Allison approached me and she said, hey, Joan, I want to do this thing where I really help women to begin to walk the path, you know, where they begin to embrace what it is that they truly want to do. And then she presented this idea of the third act, and I said, that's a beautiful idea. I love it. I'd love to participate in this. So on November 17th, we are hosting a full-day retreat at the Royal Ambassador Event Center up in Caledon. So you'll get to leave the city and just come out and have a beautiful time. It's a great space. And we are just planning to have a bang-up day of setting goals, setting intentions, healing, moving past all those things that are barriers to us, and then just fly. But then one of the things that Allison truly wants to do is to support people as they embrace the new journey and then continue with them, holding hands, guiding, coaching, all of those things. So I'm excited about that. So Allison, you didn't answer the question though. How did you overcome your fears and finally step out?
You know when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired? It was just that.
It was total exhaustion.
I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes.
And the worst thing, you attract the same kind of conversations. When you go out and interact with people, they were saying the same story, saying the same thing you were saying. And I'm like, come on.
Right.
Enough.
Yes. Gotta do it. Gotta do it.
And you know what? One of the things that we'll do that day, Joan, is we will actually dig deep to change that mindset, because we have all made goals. New Year's is coming up. We all have made goals
Yes.
year in, year out. And what happens a month in, if we get that far?
Yes.
And guess why we fail? Because our mind's not right.
Right.
And so this is fall, where everything, the season of fall,
Yes.
where the old dies, and we're going to be
Preparing the way for the new.
Literally.
I love
Dying.
it. I love it. Well, I'm really
Dying.
looking forward to, working with this project with you. I'm excited about what's to come and what we're going to be able to do. Yes. love it.
When I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I said to her, if you were to forgive anything
Yes.
about in your life,
Yes.
what would be the most important thing that you forgive?
Yes.
And her response to me was quite profound. She says, I would love myself the first time I met me. And I
So
was
she
like,
would forgive herself for actually
Yes.
not loving herself enough.
exactly.
Yes.
And this is what we need to do. It's
Yes.
forgive ourselves and forgive everybody around us that we think have, or we know have held us captive,
Yes. Yes.
of not letting us realize our dreams and aspirations.
Yes.
Of giving us those messages that have, been so ingrained in us that we don't no longer feel that we have what it takes to
Yes.
move to the next level.
Yes.
And the next level is waiting for you. That nagging feeling,
Yes.
that thing that when you shower and you have a quiet moment that
Yes.
keeps coming back to you, it's not gonna go away until
Right.
you
Until you deal with it, until you
here's
face
what
it.
to do.
Right?
Come out
Yeah.
November 17th and get it done.
Right.
We're here for you.
Yes. And, in the book 490, one of the things I talk about is that there are these layers to forgiveness, right? The first layer is about family. The second layer is then about the people that we meet, whether it's starting in school and then going up to grade school and high school and college, and then eventually our career and our communities as we branch out. There are all of these forgivenesses that we have to do that's connected with that. And then beyond that, then we actually have to face humanity. We have to face the aspects of the humanity that have sent us the wrong messages. So if we have to forgive men, and we have to forgive women, and then we have to forgive the races that have treated and dehumanized one another. We have to forgive the people who make children into slaves and war soldiers and all of those things. And as we go through the process of forgiving absolutely everything, then we are really taking on the compassion of Christ, the understanding of Christ, but we're actually becoming more like Christ. That person who's understanding, who's patient, who's kind, where all the fruits of the spirits manifest themselves. Goodness, right, comes alive. And so out of that, it comes also inner peace, and that's essentially where I want everybody to be, inner peace. And so on November 17th, we are starting that journey. We invite you to come on out and begin that journey with us. I'm so excited that we had this conversation, Allison. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I don't see any questions per se, just a lot of waves. And Poetic Sense says, sounds amazing. This is so very what God is asking us in this season, because that's what's happening here. So wonderful.
And Dr. Joan, just before we go,
Yes.
there's one important aspect that we will be covering.
Yes.
And that's the most freeing of all, is forgiving ourselves.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. All right,
And
guys.
setting
Thanks.
goals and moving forward.
Yes. Once we forgive, then what we do is we move on to actually set those those goals, those life goals. It frees us up to actually be more clear, to connect to ourselves, and to then actually begin to create that business plan, begin to actually speak about it in ways we can understand, comprehend, and then act on, to strategize. All of those things. You become so much smarter when you forgive.